Shabbat Shalom. And we are going to get started this Shabbat evening with a nigun, which is a wordless melody. Luckily, what that means is all of us know the words. Lie, 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 die, die, die. However you want to sing is the right way to sing. There we go. Stay. Amazing. And so before we sing, let's just take a moment to feel rooted where we are. Let's take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And let's sing together. Yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da We begin Shabbat with the lighting of Shabbat candles. It's my pleasure to invite Sarah Granis and Jerry Ann Smith to light Shabbat candles. We are on page 121 and then 120 for the blessing.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Let us take the words we shall speak, lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We are on page 131 for some Kabbalat Shabbat Psalms to help us to get into the Shabbat spirit. as we sing Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Let us sing a new song unto God. We are on page 138 as we sing Lecha Dodi, welcoming Shabbat as though she is a bride. Please be seated, and we are on page 140 as we sing the words Shalom Aleichem, 142, my apologies, as we wish the Malachei HaShalom, the angels of peace, that they arrive in peace, that they bless us with peace, and that they go on their way in peace as well. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We are on page 146 for the words of Baruch Hu. Please rise in the ways that you are able. Please be seated. And we're on page 148 for the translation of Ma'ariv Aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim. ראשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Just yesterday, and most of today up until sunset, we are celebrating this holiday called Shavuot, which is the holiday that celebrates God giving us the 10 Commandments at Mount Sinai. And during a conversation during our late night service and study yesterday, we explored the idea of what is it that makes a space holy. Is it the materials that are used? Is it that the space is already holy in some way and people just encounter the holy space? Is it just that wherever God is, then that's a holy place? But if that's the case, isn't everywhere holy? Because God is everywhere. What are we supposed to do with this? And it brings up the question for us of our ancestors when they were in the land of Egypt. Did that feel like a holy place to them? Did it feel like they were separate from God? Did it feel like they were yearning to have that sense of connection and they were not being heard, they were not being listened, they were praying, and what was coming of it? And then for them to be led out of Egypt and to see the Red Sea, and then to experience the Red Sea split so that they could come out on the other side, to experience that shift from feeling like nothing around me could ever be holy, I'm in so much suffering, to the other side where you are so exuberant that all you can sing is Mi chamocha ba'ilim Adonai, who is like you, Adonai? This is a big shift. And in our own lives, even as we have deep darkness that we experience, may we too find the moments where we cross the Red Sea and have our own Mi chamocha ba'ilim Adonai, that moment of connection and holiness. We are on page 158 as we sing joyously, Who is like you, Adonai? It's my pleasure to invite Pip Simon to share with us a reading on page 161.
Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence our acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim, shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim, shalom. Baruch atah, atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. We now come to our tefillah, the core part of our service. I invite everyone to rise in the ways that they are able, and we turn to page 164. Adonai, sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevik Ula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי זו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please take a moment for your own silent prayer, and when your prayer is complete, feel free to be seated. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Page 180. In a moment, I will share some words of Torah for the evening as I usually would. But before I do so, I just want to put a disclaimer out that part of the topics that we'll be talking about is unhealthy and abusive relationships. That's a theme that comes out of this week's Torah portion. And statistically, there are people in this room who have experienced it or know somebody who has experienced this. And this can be a hard topic to talk about. So if this is something that you start to realize you need to take space from, or that you need to grab a glass of water, or that you need to just take a little walk, no offense will be taken. There's plenty of Torah left for you too, but what's most important is that you are taking care of yourself and that you know that your community is here to support you if you decide that you would also like to reach out for support. And I'll also note that I'm grateful to Rabbi Leah Berkowitz for her article on reformedjudaism.com, which inspired this drash. And some of the explanations that we'll talk about actually come from her words this evening. This Shabbat, in Reformed Jewish communities, we read from Parshat Naso, which means that we have transitioned from the book of Leviticus, where we're talking about purity and the building of the tabernacle and all of the very specific laws that seem to go on and on all the way to the book of Numbers. And it turns out there are more laws in Numbers, but there are some stories interwoven as well. And in this week's Torah portion, we see Am Yisrael, the people of Israel, trying to become a functional society. They are required to take a census so that they know how many people are in their midst. And they begin to talk about court proceedings. Unfortunately, amongst this Torah portion, we also find the instructions for a ritual that is incredibly difficult to read. And this is the ritual of sota, a trial by ordeal for a woman suspected of infidelity. The following is Rabbi Leah Berkowitz's explanation of this ritual and what is particularly challenging to her. And until you hear me acknowledge a shift in my referring back to my own thoughts, assume that when I say I or me, that I'm actually referring to Rabbi Berkowitz, referring to herself. Quote, "In this ritual, the husband brings his wife, known throughout rabbinical literature as sota, to the priest along with a meal of offering of jealousy. The priest uncovers the woman's hair and makes her drink water containing dirt from the floor of the Mishkan and the ink from a written curse containing the 4-letter name of God. And if the woman is innocent, the ritual will have no effect on her. But if she has been unfaithful, the priest warns, may the Eternal make you a curse and an imprecation among your people, as the Eternal causes your thigh to sag and your belly to distend." This is from Numbers chapter 5, verses 21 and 22. Many of the elements of this ritual might disturb a modern reader, particularly one concerned with bodily autonomy of women. But for me, what is most troubling is that this ordeal is driven entirely by a husband's jealousy. We read elsewhere that adultery is punishable by death in Leviticus 20, verse 10. And this ritual only occurs when there is no proof that adultery has taken place. As it says in Numbers chapter 5, verse 14, "But a fit of jealousy comes over him, and he is wrought up about the wife who has defiled herself. Or if a fit of jealousy comes over him, and he is wrought up about a wife, although she has not defiled herself." The purpose of this ritual is to reassure the husband of his wife's fidelity and the paternity of any subsequent children. Even if the ritual serves to exonerate the woman, it is difficult to imagine the woman emerging from the public humiliation with her reputation and marriage completely unscathed. Unquote. Or returning to my reflections on this matter. When I entered rabbinical school, I knew that part of the work that I needed to do was supporting people in unhealthy relationships and those experiencing gender-based violence. So I received training as a survivor advocate volunteer at the wonderful organization in Cincinnati called Women Helping Women. And through the 40 hours of training, followed by many more hours as a volunteer answering hotline calls and chats, something I had known in theory became much more clear in reality. Abusive relationships are not just about physical violence, and they often are not just about the couple. It is a red flag when a partner makes a wild, demeaning, dangerous accusation out of the blue without any proof, inspired by their own sense of jealousy. It's a red flag when someone tries to take away their partner's bodily autonomy. It's a red flag when someone uses power and control to determine how their partner will behave in response to their own emotional reaction, regulating someone else instead of themselves. It's a red flag when someone seeks to embarrass their partner publicly in front of people they care about. It's a red flag when someone acts in a way that could potentially lead to their partner's death. Abusive behavior is rooted in power and control. It seeks to keep one partner separated from agency towards their lives. So often in these relationships, or in relationships with these dynamics, the survivor partner will find themselves not only being disconnected from parts of themselves that remind them of the truth of who they are and their behaviors, they are also disconnected from their support system and their loved ones and their communities and the people around them who they love through various isolating tactics. And sometimes this is done through sowing conflict and accusations. While we note that abuse can happen from and to people of any gender, when abuse happens from a man to a woman, there are additional impacts from a society that treats women differently than men and that allocates power and belief differently. As we read about the Sota ritual, we note that it is only for women thought to be unfaithful and not the other way around. In addition to the gender imbalance created by this ritual, it's hard not to think about the ways that this ritual, already difficult to read about, could be used to publicly to cause publicly sanctioned harm to women already experiencing harm in the private sphere. This ritual is full of red flags, and it turns out this is not a modern conception that this is troubling. The rabbis of the Talmud noticed this as well. And they filled an entire tractate, an entire book of the Talmud to qualify, to limit, and to dismantle this ritual, acknowledging the harm it could cause. By the end of the tractate, we learned that the ritual was completely abolished following the destruction of the Second Temple. Infidelity can be a tricky subject. It impacts so many of us and can cause us to wonder who to trust. Yet, there is a difference between navigating uncertainty and trying to force certainty. We have to keep in mind the ways that our societal systems and proceedings can help or harm those already in harm's way. The rabbis of the Talmud teach us by the way that they deal with this ritual that dealing with harmful and potentially abusive elements in our society is not just about dealing with each case one-on-one or just lending a listening ear every once in a while, although that can also be helpful. We have to look at wider structures and procedures that impact those likely to be harmed on a much larger scale. These are the types of reforms that are a key part of building the society that we want to be. We must look out for everyone in our community, and we must protect those who might be in harm's way. Ken Yehirat Zon, may this be God's will. If you know somebody who is experiencing any form of unhealthy relationship and you find that they might need support, please feel free to refer them to Shalom Bayit. It's the Jewish response to domestic violence in our Bay Area community. And also feel free to refer them to me as well, and I will be happy to connect them with resources that they can use to keep them safe. We continue on page 371 for the words of Misha Beirach. And we take this moment to think of those who are in need of healing, healing of body, healing of mind, healing of spirit. If you or somebody you know is in need of healing at this time, if you're joining us on Zoom, please feel free to type their name in the chat. And if you're with us in person, please feel free to share their name aloud or in your heart as my hand passes over your section.
Sherry King, Greg King, and Otis, and myself.
David Lamazny.
Sharon Smith, Adrian Brown, Greg Spiegel, and Bruce Baldwin.
My sister Jeannie Ellen and Marilyn Garlick.
Marge Charlton, Wendy McCoy.
My daughter Jamie.
There you go.
For all those names that we've said aloud, those that we type in the chat, and those that we keep in our hearts, we sing the words Misha Beirach, hoping for a refuah shlema, a full recovery. Misha Beirach, avodeinu, lekor habracha, leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We continue on page 586 for the words of Aleinu. Please rise in the ways you are able. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please be seated. We take this moment to remember those who are no longer with us on this earth, but remain with us in our memories of them. As your loved one's name is read, please feel free to rise. This Shabbat, we are remembering those in the period of Shloshim, 30 days since burial for Anna Greenberg, mother of Amy Nardini. And this Shabbat, we remember those whose yahrzeits occurred this past week. Molly Simon Becker, mother of Rebecca Miller. Renee Bodker, mother of Terry Gladish. Sarah Kaplan, mother of Malcolm Kaplan. Peggy Cochran, mother of Dennis Gay. My apologies. Your mother-in-law. Okay, just checking. Anna Fishman, remembered by Arlen Bitter Peavy. Lois Flam, mother of Stephen Flam. Benjamin Katz, father of Phyllis Domino. Joyce Lindstrom, remembered by Arlen Bitter Peavy. Jeanette Naftali, mother of Arthur Naftali. Shirley Toland, mother of Ann D. Wilson. Shirley Truxillo, sister of Sarah Granis. And Marianne Weiss, mother of Ronnie Peterson. We now invite all who are observing their first year of mourning to rise. And now we rise as a community with our mourners and turn to page 598 for the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam ulalmei almaya. Yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing, to which we say, amen. Please be seated. And it is my pleasure to invite to the forefront of our screen, Susan Schwartz, who will be sharing some words of announcements with us this evening.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Susan.
There will be no Torah study this Sunday. Torah study is on hiatus until June 11th. Join us next week, Friday, June 2nd, for Pride Shabbat. Sunday, June 4th will be a busy day at TBT. Join us at 9:30 a.m. for a mitzvah day, and then stay for the annual meeting at 11 a.m. Lunch will be provided. See the weekly for more details and registration information. WTBT's 2023 installation tea will be Sunday, June 11th at 3:15 p.m. See the weekly for more information and to register. Temple Beth Torah seeks to be a community accessible to all of its members. We are looking for volunteers to occasionally provide transportation to those needing rides to Shabbat services or other in-person programming. If you can help with this mitzvah one time or more, please contact Chevra Chesed at bethtorah-fremont.org. The Gun Violence Prevention Proclamation recognizes June 2nd through 4th as National Gun Violence Awareness and Wear Orange Weekend. We encourage members of our TBT community to attend the Fremont City Council meeting on June 6th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in order to support our city leadership as they honor those whose lives have been lost to gun violence, and to show our city leadership how much this issue matters to its constituents. Jewish Silicon Valley and High House Board of Directors have created a survey for residents of Santa Clara County to learn about interests and aspirations of Jewish community members in order to help local institutions better support the needs and desires of Jews in our area. If you have a few moments during your week, please fill out the survey. See the weekly for a link to the survey. And I just want to stick in a little reminder that our new website will be revealed on May 31st at 6:30 p.m. And a reminder email will go out Tuesday morning. So be sure and take a look at it. It's going to be really great. Thank you to Sean Rahman for managing the AV and to Joel Strad and Janine Charlton for representing the worship committee tonight. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you, Susan, for sharing those announcements. Susan is our co-chair for our Social Action Committee, and so we're grateful for all of the work that you do to help our community stay involved in the work that needs to be done in our world. We are going to continue with that theme of gratitude. It's always good to stay thankful with family blessing. So I encourage you to reach out to somebody you consider to be family. You might notice somebody near you reaching out. It's the Temple Beth Torah family. We enjoy each other. And if you are not in the same space as somebody who you'd like to send this blessing to, I encourage you to close your eyes and to hold them in your heart. And we hope that they receive this blessing. May God bless you and keep you. May God shine God's face upon you and be gracious to you. May God's face turn to you and grant you peace, to which we all say, Amen. Amen. And now we'll say Kiddush and Motzi. There is challah and grape juice for those in person, in the social hall out after services. I believe it remains that red is wine and white is grape. That is no longer the case. No. It's all. The little paper cups are grape juice. Just make sure that you're grabbing the one that you intend to grab. Yes, wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate that. So the blessing can be found on page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon yinchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'charta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, Veshabbat kodecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim. And now we'll bless Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. We will conclude this evening on page 129 with the words, Ki eshmera Shabbat. When I keep Shabbat, God keeps me. Ki eshmera Shabbat, El yishmereini. Ki eshmera Shabbat, El Shabbat Shalom, everyone.